All right, folks, welcome back. I've already got my render view pulled up, um, but some of the things that we need to do real quick for this episode: do File, Set Project, choose your character folder, then do File, Open Scene, open your Blocky 8. I'm not going to do that because mine took a while to load, so I'm just going to keep it open. Then do File, Save Scene As. Let's call this number 9. All right, so with this one, we are going to show you how to set up rendering. Um, I'm still working on my lighting, but if you've got your lighting the way you like, you've got your shadows where you want them, all that good stuff, you are good to follow along with these instructions. So I'm going to pull this off screen real quick. We're going to make sure we're on the rendering tab. Go to render settings. Well, actually, let's check something real quick. I'm going to click on, say, this one right here, my controller, and we set up our, in this case, my last keyframe is frame 120. That just gives me an idea of how many frames I need to render. Now, if I really wanted, I could look at my camera view, slide my slider, and technically, yeah, by 120, it's not even out of frame, so I do want to go all the way to 120. So, I may actually go ahead and select my camera. I'm going to move it a little closer because I want him to be off screen by 120. So I've set myself to 120 and I'm moving my camera until I see him off the screen at that point. Then I'm going to just make sure he looks good when he starts. Okay, he's in screen here at the start. By 120, he's off screen, so he looks like he passes the camera. So what I'm going to do now is get ready to render it. So I'm going to go to render settings, and we've already set up our Arnold renderer last time. Now we need to go through and first things, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this blocky character. And this is what it's going to name your files when you're, in this case, we're going to export an image sequence. And so it'll name them blocky character. Then I'm going to scroll down to where it says uh, frame animation extension. Right now it's defaulting to a single frame. So if I were to hit render, it would only render out the current frame I'm on. I'm going to change that to name.number.extension. And then it gives us an option for padding. Now 4 is good for this. Basically padding is if I have, in this case, 120 frames, it's going to pad it up to 4 digits. So it will call it 0001, 0002, all the way up to 0120. So depending on how many frames you have, your padding may need to go up. It could go down, whatever. I always, if it's something small like this, I just leave the padding the way it is. But it depends on how many frames. I'm going to tell it my start frame is frame 1. My end frame is 120. Then I'm going to make sure I have my camera 1 selected, my settings that I did previously, and then I'm going to hit close. Then I'm going to go to render current frame. We'll see what it looks like. Oh, my bad. If you do render current frame, it's going to render the one that your camera was, or your last selection was in. So I'm going to select my camera view, go render current frame. I like to do this to kind of get an idea of what the camera size is going to look like. And the more lighting you put in, the bigger your textures, the more objects, the longer it's going to take for your render. But I'm happy with this for now. If I go to frame 120, I'm going to go to render current frame, see if it shows it as being off screen. Yep. Okay. And that one rendered quicker because there's nothing in the shot. So I'm happy with that. Now that I've got my settings, I'm going to do a file save. just in case my computer crashes while trying to render. I'm going to go to Render, Render Sequence. I'm going to click this little box next to it. Make sure it says Camera 1. And if I want to put an alternate output location, I can do so. Right now, it is going to, as long as you've set your project, it's going to put it in your blocky character folder under Images. So I'm going to hit Select. And then when you're ready, you will hit Render Sequence and Close. Once you do that, your computer's going to be busy for a little while. And it will start rendering. And it will, in some cases, show you the first render screen or the first rendered image. And then if it's rendering fast, you may just see like a lot of blue screens popping up. If it's rendering slow, you may see each frame rendering one at a time. So it really just depends on how intense your work is. But you would hit render sequence and close. When that is done, just do another file save. And then you would go to your folder. And when you go into it, under the images folder, you will probably wind up with a temp folder like this, and your renders will wind up in here, kind of like these other ones. That is one thing. Before we hit render, I want to check. Let's go to render, render settings. I almost missed a step for our file type. I like to do PNGs, either PNGs or, I mean, you can do JPEGs, but they're going to be a lot lower quality. PNGs are also nice because if you don't put a floor, if you don't put a background or anything, when you render it, you'll get that transparent background that you can then use in CGI work, stuff like that. So make sure to change the image format to PNG, then hit close, render, render sequence. So set that all up, hit render sequence and close. All right, so I'm gonna again save, let you all start your renders. The final video that I will post for this series, we will leave Maya. I will use Premiere, Adobe Premiere to put my frames back together. You'll be able to use other software, but I'm just going to, in that video, show you how to take those frames and basically take your image sequence and turn it back into a video file. So before then, go ahead and make sure to render, and we'll see you in the next video.